Whether we like it or not, he's the self-proclaimed governor of Mid-Missouri, and he's the host of TTBS, the podcast. Since we can't shut him the hell up, here's Tom Bradley.
Thank you, Nikki Garman, and Happy New Year to you. It has been a couple of weeks since we've had the podcast going on, so it's a hell of a break, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It seemed almost too long. It was good to take a break, but it was a long time.
It was a while.
That was a long time to not talk.
How are you?
I'm doing great, man.
It is. It's nice to be seeing you,
Yeah.
and I mean that in more later this morning. When we talk about keeping our eye on the crap, I'll explain to you even more why it's so wonderful to be seeing you. And we'll get into it. And
There's an optometrist joke in there somewhere.
That's right. And so I got to mention to you that we're live from Truman's Bar and Grill. And then you can catch this, of course, recorded for eternity on YouTube.
Yep.
For about the next month on Facebook.
Yep.
I want to mention to you that Truman's a year ago had their first ever, as far as I'm concerned, party. They never had what you would call a party before, and they had it last year for the 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
And I came in here and I was like, this is amazing. I've been coming to Truman since they opened.
That's awesome.
And it was a party. They are turning 21. Truman's is going to be legal, finally.
That's finally, yeah.
And
that's quite an accomplishment for a restaurant, for a bar. That's fantastic.
You know, you're damn right. I'm glad you're mentioning
Yeah.
that. And that's
it's
very
one
true.
of the highest failure rates of any businesses in the country.
Yeah.
It is a tough business.
People talk about, what would you like to do? I'd like to open a sandwich shop. Yeah. Okay, failure is coming your way. They're going to have their 21st birthday, and it's a party. It is Saturday, January 17th. I will be going. You should be going as well. The band High Mileage will be here. What's the cover charge that night?
0, I'm hoping.
Yeah, always.
Nice.
Live music. Oh, what about the reservations? Which number do you call for reservations? Do you know that I see people come in here, because we're here once a week at least, right? And then when I'm back in later, people come in, and the staff being so kind will holler out to them in a cheerful voice, hey, you can sit anywhere you'd like, because people will wait there to be seated.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
To be seated?
It's not that kind of place, man.
Did you have valet parking outside too?
Yeah.
This is Truman's, bitch.
Yeah.
Go get a seat and relax. Our guest this morning on TTBS, the podcast, is DeMarcus Thomas-Brown. Second time on the podcast, but you were not here the first time.
No, I didn't have the pleasure.
Okay, we will introduce him in a moment and talk about it. And when we do, I'll talk a little bit with DeMarcus about how I felt that first time. And I'm going to ask him how he felt that first time joining us. He's the director of the Office of Violence Prevention in Columbia. And that's been brought up a few times, especially this week, by people I know. And they want to get into a conversation on that. Ellis Bennis is with us from Floating Axe. I want to ask you some questions. I promised at the first of the year I would start doing 1 to 3 short videos each week in addition to the podcast.
Yeah, and you're killing it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great. I watched the Chex Mix one last night. It was great.
As it will be known henceforth. And I'll tell you something, if I don't get that damn Chex Mix tin with Charlie Brown on it and
You're
everything,
very emotionally invested in this thing.
they said it'll be here March 11th. You don't think that I've got that on my calendar? And I'm expecting to get it. And if I don't get it in by March 11th, I'm going to be so ticked. March 11th, just so you know, is a Wednesday, which puts it the day before
the podcast. Yeah, perfect.
So on Thursday, March 12th, you're going to find out. I'm happy, and I'll have the tin with me. I think I'm going to make
the video shot will just be the tin. We just have the camera on the tin.
And I'll tell you the truth. If I get it in that day, postally delivered right to my door, I'm going to make a special batch of Chex Mix and bring it in here to the show.
That'll be really good audio acoustically. Right, just right through the speakers. That'll be great.
If I don't receive it, there'll be no Chex Mix made, and the bitching that's going to take place on Thursday, March the 12th, is going to be a real thing.
I need a text on the 11th so that I know to call in sick on the 12th if the tin doesn't make it.
I mean, people are going to be like, oh, no, he's going to get pissed. That's what I do whenever I watch Bar Rescue, and I still watch these old episodes of Bar Rescue, and John Taffer's going to get mad. I'm like, he's going to get mad. I'm scared. I'm scared every time.
Daddy's angry.
He's angry. So I'm going to keep the videos going. I want to ask you a question about the podcast. Do we need to shorten the intro on the podcast? Because still to this day, I've only actually listened to one podcast in my life, and I don't mean ours. I mean, I listened to Joe Rogan.
Yep.
That's his name?
Yeah. Yes. The most famous podcaster in the country.
I called up one of his podcasts early one morning, and I caught about an hour of it. He's very talented, very wonderful guy, great show. I just don't ever listen to podcasts.
Right.
Do you think we need to shorten the intro to this podcast?
No, I like our intro, especially with Nikki kind of making fun of you. I love it.
Okay.
No, I like it every time.
And I feel like it's Well, it's what I like to call podcast foreplay.
Yeah.
So
now I'm uncomfortable.
If I can make you uncomfortable once per week,
absolutely,
I will do so. It is time for us to release the hounds. We got to get to our announcement of the week.
All right.
Brought to you by Creekside Pet Center, Creekside's Bed and Biscuit, and Dirty Harry's in Boonville. I can't say that I love all three of those places, except they're all part of MidmoDogboarding.com. And what a great family the Brummets are, and operating all of these. I will tell you, the Creekside is our place, right?
That's where Daisy goes?
Daisy.
Yep.
Daisy is getting enrolled in doggy daycare. You can't go if you're not a good girl or good boy. You can't go if you're not up to date on your shots. And if you're going to have a problem with, like, you've got to be spayed or neutered.
Okay.
She finally got spayed.
I am spayed.
And thank you. I thank you. All of your kids thank you. She's getting enrolled in doggy daycare. Her first appointment is January 27th. That's a big deal. If she fits the group and gets acclimated, everything will be fine. She's never met a dog she doesn't like, so I think this is going to be exciting. And I'm happy.
It's like kindergarten. It's like, do you have all your shots? Are you potty trained? Are you good fit?
It's all, and she
doggy kindergarten.
She's gonna be so happy. So I can't wait. Thank you, Creekside Pet Center and Midmo Dog Boarding as well. This is interesting because I think it's worth noting. It's a positive note, even though a lot of people I've talked to over the last week have said they don't believe it. But it is a positive note. And it ties in a little bit with today's guest, although that's not specifically why I'm bringing it up now. I would have brought it up anyway. But I think it deserves to be the big announcement of the week. The Missouri Highway Patrol has released their annual crime report. They assemble the report. They're not the ones taking care of it all, but it all gets reported to them. We have one place for a clearinghouse for the information from all the LEs, the law enforcement agencies across the state. They've released their annual crime report, and the violent crime in Columbia went down in 2025, and that's done that for a few years now, so it is a trend that's going on. There are people immediately going, I wouldn't trust that, or there's a change in how the reports are happening, or what's getting classified as this or that. Look, I'm not telling you that any of that is right or wrong, but I'm going to tell you this, that if you believe violent crime is too high, and if they would have come out, the same report by the same people, and said violent crime went up, you'd be believing it to high heaven. Praise the Lord, that's the truth, and then bitching about it on the streets. The reality is, if you're going to accept it as whatever you call it, lie, fiction, truth, you're going to do that no matter what the report states. And if it comes out and says it's down, you should say good. And I'm glad to see the trend, but it's still higher than I want. And I want to talk about what we're doing to either keep it down, take it down further, or what have you. So that's the big announcement.
Can you see in the statistics, like, it's down 2 years? Can you see the graph of, like, a 10-year spread or anything like that? Is that, or
well,
you'd have to compile
you could
that,
if you wanted to, but
okay.
I think the trend they're going is now 3 years running, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And so it's good to see it. Now, while I say that, the strange thing about the city manager, DeCarlin Seawood, and the mayor, Barbara Buffalo, is when we have a couple of shootings or deaths in a week's time, they're not stepping up and talking about it, and we are.
Yeah.
I mean, the shooting that happened at Dick's Sporting Goods and then the carjacking.
Yep.
I was like, what in God? Thank you to multiple agencies. I want to say probably 3 agencies that were involved. We picked up that sumbitch, the suspect, well, I think an hour or two later.
Yeah.
And he's in
Same
custody.
thing with the Clark Lane shooting at the Greens, right?
Yeah.
They got him quick.
So, I mean, we're doing the right things. But mark my words, Buffalo and the city will tout the numbers being down. If not right now, it'll come out in the next bit, and it'll come out in it'll come out in a video that Buffalo puts out there. Did you really have lunch with Barbara Buffalo yesterday?
No, I did not have lunch with her.
And you didn't even share that with all of us?
No, I didn't have lunch with her. I was having lunch with another friend. She just happened to be at the same place that I was at. But that's the first time I'd ever seen her in person, because I wasn't on the podcast when you interviewed Barbara either. So it was kind of funny. It was like, I've only seen this person on social media, but I was like, oh, there she is in the flesh.
Did it feel like you had a celebrity sighting?
A little bit, yeah. It caught me off guard because I wasn't ready for that.
Did you like it when you texted me this morning about that?
Yeah.
And I texted you back. Did you like the emoji of a buffalo?
Yeah. I didn't even know that was it. Maybe that's an iPhone only. I don't think I have that emoji. You have special emojis that I don't have access to.
Well, yeah. It comes with the territory of being the governor
That's
of
right.
Mid-Missouri.
Do you get a governor pack? Is there like a
do.
governor of Mid-Missouri emoji pack?
And don't get me wrong. People like Mayor Buffalo, she's got the pack too.
Yeah, she's got
we
it
all
too.
get it.
We all get it.
These things. So this is a reality that we're dealing with on those numbers, and we'll get into that more in a moment because it is time for us to bring our guest on this morning.
Awesome.
And this is his second time being on the show, which I would say there's only one other person who's been on the show twice since we started.
Yeah.
I believe, so that's a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. DeMarcus Thomas-Brown. DeMarcus, good morning.
Good morning, Tom.
There was a chance you weren't going to be here this morning, and it's not because of a bad attitude or you and I not getting along. You were out traveling.
I was traveling, didn't get in till about 2:30 this morning. So,
man.
Oh, God.
a 16-hour trip, but glad to be here.
Ooh.
So,
Wow.
it's well-hearted that my first stop was with you guys. So,
That is, I mean, you didn't get any damn sleep.
Yeah, man.
it comes with the territory.
I guess so. Were you traveling for business? Well, it is
No,
business for you.
this was family care. One of the things that we can deal with the lows of what goes on in the community, and man, that affects your family.
Yeah,
it
and so
does,
you
doesn't
got to
it?
be able to get your kids in a place to where they can enjoy and they can see you not in hypervigilance, but actually enjoying their presence. So we were in Hilton Head, South Carolina.
Oh, good for you.
wow.
16-hour drive, and we filled every
Well, good for you being
hour
there.
of it.
Bad for you on that. How old are your kids?
That's what I was going to ask.
6 and 8.
Oh, it's not too bad.
God.
That's
Yes,
a little
it
bit.
is on a 16-hour drive.
He's only got two, man.
Well, we had 11 with us. Well,
Oh
my
my
mom and my
gosh.
sister went. My
No, no,
sister
no,
has 5
A
kids.
caravan. You
Yes.
weren't all in one vehicle.
Oh, we were all in one vehicle, sir.
Really? Did you
11.
rent like a panel van or something?
We rented a 15-passenger van.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh!
You know, it's not legal to put kids on the roof. I want to make sure that you understand.
Are there rules about enclosed trailers and children? Like
Well-
they can't see in there.
I checked with Jill and see how far her power would get me.
Yeah.
We a couple states over. She's like, hey, don't bank on it. But we try to do what we can do.
The most we ever did, and it was in a conversion van we had, was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I bolted a baby seat to the floor of the van. I drilled through the vehicle, and I bolted a baby seat.
Why didn't you
And
just
Jessie Marie.
strap it in? Like,
We didn't have any more seats.
There was no seats.
So Jessie Marie was bolted to the floor. I think she was the safest one in the car.
Oh, probably. Oh my
rear
God.
facing. The only time that she came out of the seat was to be breastfed by Deb. And then she'd go right back
I'm glad
in
you
there.
specified who breastfed. Like we were
that's a
concerned, right?
qualifier,
Yeah,
yes.
we wanted to know which one
you-
was breastfeeding.
When you are captain of the ship. Were you doing the majority of the driving?
Yes, sir.
Okay, when you're captain of the ship, you need to know who's breastfeeding whom.
You got to. It's imperative.
You're like, Billy, you don't have any Billies, do you?
That's my dad's name.
Billy,
though,
what are you
but
doing breastfeeding? Billy? And Susan, put that away.
Yeah.
All right, enough of that. No,
Oh,
you know,
man.
I want to say this up front, a couple of things here, if you don't, and then I want to ask you a question. You were chosen and announced March of last year, correct?
That's correct.
So not yet a year in there, and you were on the show with us in May. And when you came in, I don't want to say I was like a pit bull ready to pounce, but I had a lot of stuff on my mind, and I had a preconceived notion of what you might be like for being named the director of the Office of Violence Prevention. And you walked in here, and I was very pleasantly surprised because I've told people since then, and I think it's come up on the show,
Yeah.
I find you to be a person who is thoughtful, who is in touch with the streets, who has some kind of an understanding of what that might be like or was like years in the past now for people that are going through it. When we talk about crime on the streets, you've got a real finger on this stuff. You've also received training that I wasn't aware of, and I don't even know where you go for some of this training. And I didn't feel like you had any talking points. I think you were speaking from your knowledge, from your heart, your soul, your life experience, and what you're feeling. And I found that to be refreshing.
Wow.
So I want to thank you for being who you are, and thank you for being back in. What was you'd never done a podcast where you might be on a hot seat before, had you?
Not a podcast, no.
Any kind of you were on a show
Well,
or an interview?
So what people kind of they get it after sometimes I speak, and if they get me riled up, they're like, "Do you preach?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I pastor."
You're a pastor too?
Yes, sir. You want
So
to talk about a
am
hot
I.
seat? Oh, so you
I'm
know.
a credentialed pastor.
Oh,
yeah.
you know. That's a hot seat. You
Yeah.
you deal with parishioners
Yeah.
who feel like you should not have changed the color of the seats. You know? man, or somebody sitting in their seat, or who
So
was tithing. Like you come about a hot seat every Sunday.
If you were up there preaching, and do you like greet them on the way out then, on the way leaving?
Well, I don't know how other people's churches function, but they'll shout you down while you're up. You're up there you're in the middle of a sermon. What? That's not true. Okay, let's back this up. Who said that?
I got to tell you something, man. I grew up Catholic. If I could have yelled at that priest at any moment, that would have been good.
Yeah, that's not a traditional thing there. Yelling
but
at the pastor.
it really can happen right there.
Mm-hmm.
The closest thing we yell is amen. It's like we only do, positive reinforcement, but you're getting arguments like
Yeah, we gotten a couple.
Interesting.
Wow.
All right.
Which I welcome though. I mean, I don't like echo chambers. I think.
Right.
Did they ever tell you, let's take it outside, preacher?
No, it didn't go that far.
Okay,
No.
so you had a little bit of that going into this thing, but then as you become the director of this brand new office that had never existed before, and there are a lot of people right now that are saying you can't prevent violence. So the idea of building a task force or starting a new office and hiring a director and paying that person is ludicrous. And I know how they feel because I've been wondering a lot of the same things. And so when you were on with me, did you feel like and you should be honest, please, did you feel like I attacked you during that discussion?
I didn't feel that way. And it might just be my demeanor or how I take things. I don't do it's good. It takes a lot to get into a personal space of me feeling attacked.
Well, please know this. I don't have a poker face. If I'm thinking it goes right across my face like a billboard.
We need to get you that shirt that says "I'm not responsible for what my face says."
I love it.
Yeah. So I've never had a resting bitch face, but I've got an antagonized what the hell face. And so you'll see that on me. But I don't want you to take it personally if we get into that this morning. But I do have a lot of concerns, a lot of stuff that is not working for me going on out there. I'm glad the numbers of violent crime are down in Columbia. Tell me recently when you saw that, how you felt about that and what you gleaned from that information.
Well, for me, seeing the Missouri State Highway Patrol release that I'm glad they're actually releasing accurate numbers. What's mind-boggling to me is when people won't agree with fact, which is fine. We're not able to have an adequate conversation that leads to actual solutions or actual value. If we're gonna, it's like I'm not gonna believe Jill when she says that we're pulling over 20 people, and so where's my conversation with Jill gonna go then if I'm not gonna believe the
Schluty.
fact?
I'm only helping everybody else out to keep up, obviously Jill Schluty. And so when you're having a talk with her, do you talk to her often?
I do.
Good.
I mean, that's the other thing. I was a chaplain for the Columbia Police Department.
That's right.
And
that's
so,
right.
it's like I have higher respect for Jill. I have high respect for our officers out there that are doing, their duty on when you talk about intervening and trying to tamper down the not only crime but the threat of crime, and that's actual crime. People talk about my office like crime prevention. No, I'm not crime prevention. Office of Violence Prevention. Police officers are not even they're intervening and to some extent trying to prevent, but in order to prevent you must have the ability to even get to the space of being proactive, and they have to react because of matters that they didn't even put into play, right? And so
let me offer something on that now because I heard it brought up earlier this week. I mean, I think a part of what we have going on, and man, did Deb and I get into it yesterday in a conversation about our retail operations not enforcing stop stealing from our store. They're letting it happen. You don't understand the depth.
That's happening here in Columbia?
Oh, God,
I mean, I've heard of
yeah.
that on the coasts, but here in Columbia.
It is happening. And
Wow.
it comes from a corporate policy, and it comes from legal counsel that recommends this. It comes from people that don't know what to do. Or, you know what? They get to the point they're apathetic and they don't care. But the problem is when you let someone steal from your store, you help crime grow in other areas of town. It's not just you. So you're teaching people it's allowable around here. We need to be harder on criminals at every level, in our schools, in our homes, in our churches, preachers. We need to do it there. In our stores and out on the streets with our cops. So they can't prevent crime. But as long as criminals know it's really, really allowable to do anything you want to, they'll keep ratcheting it up. Do you agree with that?
it's called accountability.
Yeah.
And so if somebody when you talk about prevention though, if someone knows someone's looking, chances are they're less likely to produce the act they were going to do. Right. And so accountability brings in the fact that if I'm not getting caught and I'm stealing from here, there, and everywhere else, I'm going to ramp up my thievery, right? my stealing. I'm going to ramp it up.
Well,
I
like the thievery word. I think that's good.
And I might move into other areas because who's watching?
Yeah.
But when I know someone's watching and I get caught and I get consequences right on the bat, then that also speaks to my circle of influence. Because trust and believe, it's about the influential nature of the people I'm around as well.
Yep.
And so then that spreads the message that, hey, somebody's watching. It's a broken glass theory, right?
Yeah.
So, no,
Okay.
I agree with
All
accountability.
Right. Then let me ask you about this when it comes to violent crime. And we've had on the show a number of times people that have been involved in drug dealing and then wind up in prison. You're dealing in drugs, you're carrying cash, you got to carry a weapon, you got to protect yourself. Because you're always going to be dealing with this underbelly of the world, right? And so they wind up being involved in violent crime. Crime itself will eventually breed violent crime. Is that correct?
Evidence-based. This is not DeMarcus says or DeMarcus likes. That's what we see in the data.
The more crime you have.
The more crime if you're involved in as you said, the underbelly, but if you're involved in criminal behavior, violence is on its way.
Yeah.
This is why substance use disorder. This is why we're looking at helping people get into treatment, into recovery. Why? Because violence is on its way. Same thing with stealing. What do you have to do when you're stealing? People aren't obviously always stealing to eat. They're stealing to get things to sell. Well, if you're selling things on the black market or underneath, you're going to run into somebody who's going to say, I don't want to actually purchase those from you. I want to do what you did to get those, and I'm going to steal those from you, right? And you can't be mad because you stole them, but then they're going to either have a knife or a gun, or you're going to end a fight, right? So violence is criminal behavior begets violence.
Yeah, and then we wind up sending one to prison, and at prison, it's going to be one of the most violent worlds they've ever known. And what are they bringing back then to their own family in their humble abode? They're going to be raising children who understand and deal and become violent themselves. That's their world they live in.
That's right.
So it keeps going around and around. People are upset, though, whether we've got numbers going up or down right now with the level of violent crime. And here in this week, DeMarcus, I mean, come on. With what happened at Dick's Sporting Goods, with the shooting that happened over in Clark Lane, that's a lot for us to be going through.
It is.
People from larger cities, much larger cities, if they move to the area or they catch this podcast, they're like, that's all you guys got? That's not much. Dude, too many of us remember when this was a much smaller town.
Yep.
But we don't like the level of crime here. Are we expecting too much, do you think?
I don't think so. I mean, I have I knew taking this position just because of the work I was involved in and since 2016. This is a thankless position. People aren't going to say, hey, we're so glad you're doing. Once any violent situation is one too many. And it should be. We should not be numb to violence. But we have a very violent society. And so you play video games where you shoot somebody's brains out on the screen, and then we wonder why it's nothing for someone to walk down the street and do it. We perpetuate violence. And my job, and we're talking about preventing, is being someone to say, hey, let's look at this. When they say, what's the first step to getting to actually bringing solve to a problem? Is to admit you had a problem. Let's talk about it. Let's admit that one act is too many. I'm not mad at people to say, hey, what's the office doing? Come holler at me. Come see what we're doing. But, yeah, one act's too many. I'm not going to get, hey, we had 2 murders in Columbia. Guess what? They're going to be complaining about those 2 murders when we had 15 in 2019, right? And I'm okay with that because it should be one act too many.
You know, this is my own point here, so you don't have to agree or disagree. In fact, I'd be more comfortable if you didn't either way. And that's the fact that we're all talking about it, but when the mayor and the city manager don't talk, you are talking about it right now, but when they don't talk about it, I have a problem with that. And I believe that you said the first thing to do is admit you got a problem. We're not admitting it at that level. And when Moon Choi, the president and chancellor over at the University of Missouri and Systems, said we have a problem, we had city council and city managers that were like, oh, we don't hear you. We just want to walk away. And he said, no, we've got a problem. He's still saying it, and I talked to him this week. And we're going to have him back on in a couple of months and get deeper into this thing. But we believe we have a problem. And you said, yes, we do. And 1 is too many. And we go from there. All right, let me get into a couple of things you're doing with your, because we could talk all day long, DeMarcus, about this stuff. And sooner or later, we got to move on. I want to talk about some of the things you've come up with. I was going to go to KBIA. Maybe I'll get to that in a second. I want to talk about things that you're talking about doing with your office. You have asked the city council to take action to help prevent youth violence in the city, correct? And you met with the council, talked about some of the work your office has done to help prevent youth violence. I don't have the date on this. Do you know what date I'm talking about? by chance?
So I gave a report, September, about what the Office of Violence Prevention was doing, just giving a report to the council, because all of them are not just sitting there. But I'll say, just unbeknownst to public opinion, I was public opinion. I didn't know how the city functioned. Didn't go down there very often, and that's a whole other conversation. But thought they're all plugged. They're down there 24/7. Nah, that's not how it is. They come in. I mean, they got to catch up on Thursday on what's on the agenda, figure out what department's doing what, who's doing what, what funding's going where, and all that. It's a lot for them, and so I gave a report for them to understand what I'm doing and to be aware of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
In the Office of Violence Prevention. That was September.
I think you're right about that, and it's a lot of work, and people keep on asking me, don't these guys get paid? I wish they would have never started giving them the stipend, because they do get a stipend. It's a miserable little tiny amount of money to help them offset things like parking meter fines, because they didn't take care of their parking meter when they were out down there for the city council meeting. It pays for babysitter, or it takes care of it. What is it? It's like $500 a month or some crap like that.
Not even that. I think it's it's $3,000 a year. Like, it's stupid.
$3,000 a year. If they weren't making any money at all, if they weren't getting paid the stipend, we could go on saying, no, they're not paid. And now we got to admit they're paid this little tiny amount. No, it's not a paid job. It doesn't pay you to go work 30 or 40 hours a week. It doesn't work like that. All the way from the city council through the mayor. City manager is paid handsomely for what they do. I think with all the perks and the salary, it's well over $200,000 a year. I do believe is what we're looking. And in fact, even the salary alone might be over $2 now.
Possibly. It's out there. You can find. I think so. I think that's the ish. Yeah.
It's a lot of money. We'll just put it out there like that. One of the things you talked about is requesting I guess it's a grant from the federal government to use over a 4-year span, and talking about a violence reduction analysis. Is that correct?
So those are two different. So the Office of the Bureau of Justice and Public Safety, and that's where we put in the grant for $1.8 million. The potential for, we haven't gotten any correspondence yet, but the potential for $1.8 million to fund long term the initiatives of the Office of Violence Prevention. Then the gun violence analysis and the gun violence landscape analysis were put in for actually being paid for from the Office of Violence Prevention to look at what's going on in Columbia as it occurs to gun violence. So those are two separate
things. Mm-hmm. One of those going over the 4-year span.
Yep. That's
you would
grant.
add staff members. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And you haven't done that yet.
No.
Either. So you're waiting to find out if you're going to be able to get those funds.
So we're waiting to find out if we can get that grant, and then on the other end, I am working with HR to look at developing one staff person.
One staff person. Mm-hmm. You have a budget for your office. Is it around $500,000 a year?
It is.
And have you spent that amount of money yet this fiscal year, which started in October?
The fiscal year started in October. I have spent, well, the money's not spent yet. We've written contracts for $99,000 with Powerhouse Community Development for our community navigation liaisons who will be on transit with the bus drivers. And then we also wrote a $20,000 contract with TMT Consulting for community mental health courses, teaching about grief and loss, adverse childhood experiences, how to grieve, how to bond together as a community as we experience violence. That's one of the things we heard when we started working in the communities. We haven't collectively healed yet, and we just get to the next situation, especially in that Clark Lane corridor. That's the Near East Neighborhood Opportunity and Community Accountability Pro Council. I call them NOCAP. That's that neighborhood group we pulled together, and that's what they said. We've not collectively healed. Did
you say
Indian
it's
Hills.
called no cap?
Yes, sir. No cap. Okay. We not capping.
No cap.
That's
no cap.
So we had to make
Gen Z slang, right?
That's right.
Yeah. No cap in your ass.
I'm also a youth pastor, so yeah, I gotta keep up with it, man.
But you said Clark Lane corridor, and it's interesting.
I've never heard it called that before.
No,
have you?
I know, and I hate to coin it. Maybe you already did, but dude, the Clark Lane corridor.
Yeah.
And now people look at it. Do you remember one of the last times we talked, I mentioned the near north side in St. Louis. Remember I said? And they said that was white news anchor slang for the black neighborhood. They would say the near north side in St. Louis. And because there was North County,
right,
and that wasn't the same thing, but the near north side And then everybody knew what they were talking about. When you say Clark Lane corridor, those people who are law-abiding citizens who care about what's going on, they might be fearful or they might be boastful and say, let's build up who we are. They don't want to hear themselves referred to as a problem area, but it has become that, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And that's horrible for them.
It is. Property value, all that, right? I mean, you see that around the nation. I mean, when you talk about the National Office of Violence Prevention Network, right? We have convenings of you think of the city that would have had violent issues. They have an Office of Violence Prevention. Those people are there, and we're able to share these common stories of saying, wow, there's a commonality to what happens if we're not careful, and someone does profit off of the degradation of properties and neighborhoods. But it does not do our communities well when we're talking about violence, because that ends up being the breeding ground for what ends up being pushed out of the area and goes into a whole community.
Man, can I add a comment on that from
Absolutely.
a personal experience? So, do you know Bodie Drive? If I say Bodie
Yes,
Drive,
sir.
you know, okay.
Oh, yes.
So I was one of the only idiots that bought a house on Bodie Drive. It was in 2007, and it was it started out fine. In 2007, it was mostly college students, and then everything shifted. And I just watched exactly what he said happen, because my exact house that I sold at a loss because I had a bullet come through the front door of my house, and every property out there has bullet holes in it from the years that we lived. I mean, it was every 2 weeks there was a shooting. Every 2 weeks there was a shooting in our neighborhood, and the Lord protected us that whole time. And finally, it was like, all right, it's time to move. Well, my house I had to sell at a loss, and I'll just tell you straight up numbers. I had to sell it for $75,000 when I bought it for $115,000 brand new.
Wow!
Because that's the best I could get for it, because everybody knew this is a bullet-ridden neighborhood. Like, we're not going to go out here. Now somebody went in, they bought up every single one of those properties. I won't say who it is, but you know who it is. They bought up every single one of those properties. They kicked out all the problem people, and now that house is for sale for $215,000.
Somebody got shot in the north. No, what are you talking about? Bodie? We talking about Clark Lane? We talking about Indian Hills? That's very vast, you know. Especially we talking about northeast or northwest, because those are vast. Those people, the people who lived in the north, were ones who assimilated to the west or the north group. We'll call it a group, right? Because people get all grizzly when you call it a gang. That's a whole nother conversation. But the people on the east who are in Indian Hills or El Chaparral or on that quarter down there, Clark Lane, Ballinger, and all that, Frederick, Demerit area, they're the east. So Demerit
has been a bad street since I was a kid. So there's Demerit, and then there's the street in front of it. I practically grew up on the street in front of it because my pastor lived there.
Right.
And that street was beautiful, wonderful. I can't remember what the name of it is now. Was it Hogan? Yeah, that's right, Hogan Street. But my pastor's wife was like, she said, you do not go to the street right behind our house. So this street, wonderful, great people that live there. And then they're like, do not go on Demerit. And that was when I was like 6, 7 years old. And it's still the same.
But that spoilage can happen so fast.
Yeah.
We lived on Demerit in 1985.
You actually lived on Demerit?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wasn't bad.
And it wasn't bad. And so we had neighbors and friends, and in the summertime, all the ladies are out laying in the sunshine, and it was great. And we only lived in that house for a year. It was a duplex. And the other half of it, about halfway through that year, a couple moved in with a little girl. She was 2 or 3. They moved in. They were dealing drugs.
Whoa.
That's the beginning of the end.
Wow.
When that starts happening.
In Phil Steinhaus, and I say names. Like, if people look, I'm a
say
big
that
on
again, in the
Phil,
what?
Ask Phil Steinhaus from Columbia Housing Authority.
Okay.
Section 8. So my uncle owned a house on Hogan. He saw Section 8 start to move in and rent places on Demerit.
Yep.
And he sold his house. We thought my uncle was a sage because he realized, oh, it's about to get bad. Because what happens is you have wholesale entities that can drive down the price in the area.
Yep.
Then someone else can come in, buy low, kick people out, sell high. So what happened with Bodie is, and if you look at we have stressor maps, and that's GIS mapping that our IT department does through the city, that we're not going anecdotally and just looking at, oh, this is bad. We actually have, and the stressor maps changed in the Bodie area. There's no crime, like they're not on the stressor map at all.
Out, didn't
they all went east, and so you have feuding groups go closer together, and now we wonder about the shooting at the links and all this. So you put the groups together by kicking them out, Section 8 housing rampant over in the corridor of Clark Lane, and now you have the west or the north group with the East group living in their proximity, and we wonder why the people are getting shot.
God, so does this happen in larger scale in the
yes.
bigger markets?
Oh, yes.
And across regions also?
Yes, sir.
It sounds like, DeMarcus, you got way too much to do. I don't even know. Do you need to focus on this with both immediate, short-term, I'm going to say both but all,
Yeah.
Yeah.
at least three, immediate,
Yep.
short-term, and
Yep.
much longer-term
Yep.
focuses? You do.
And
And then you got to start convincing the rest of us what the hell needs to be done.
That was the educating part. People thought violence, intervention, prevention are the same thing. They're not the same thing. Intervention is like intervening. Intervention is more of a collaboration with the police and with street teams who know someone who's most likely to shoot or be shot. That's intervention. Prevention is looking at the wholesale health of the neighborhood and organizations, the collaboration between organizations. Because if organizations, churches, people, all political figures can't get along, why the hell we think people going to get along in neighborhoods? And so it's a wholesale ecosystem of that while we're intervening in that, and then they both have to meet each other in the intermediate to begin to get that 15-20 year outcome of wholesale prevention.
So Ken, you said you talked to Chief of Police.
Yes, sir.
Is there something you would recommend right now? You don't have to tell me what it is, but do you have a couple of things or even one thing you think the police should be doing now? Because you know that there are people out there that are this close to committing violent acts of crime against other human beings, and it's going to involve maiming somebody really, really bad or killing them, and it's going to happen in the next 30 days in this town. Is there something you want us as a city to do right now to stop that? Us as the police force? What should we do? We
got to be able to get, and this is not because I'm paid off by Jill, although I will, Chief Flutie, although I will take, no. No, we got to get adequate funding to our police department to be able to have those liaisons that can work in the community. We have officers on their off time coming to the no-cap meetings. So they're doing that work because they recognize something. We got to know those, not in a punitive manner, those who are going to shoot are going to be shot, or who are in the communities that we can come into and have an influence and an understanding with. They're doing that on their, they're not getting paid for that. We got to have funding where we have officers whose that's their job, and they're able to be that thoroughfare of communication with Office of Violence Prevention, with neighborhood organizations, and with other agencies to make sure we're able to prevent the wholesale intermediate violence.
So you're not talking about the money for your office. You're talking about many more millions of dollars on a regular annual basis to the Columbia Police Department funding.
That's right.
How many millions do you think it is?
I have no idea. I'll leave that to Jill.
Well, I wonder, like, the first thing I thought of, we just talked about these studies, right? Well, I'm trying to reframe this because first thing that we hear is like, oh, let's put a committee together, let's put a study together. But I'm wondering, is it true that when you do these studies, that is going to give you what you need to say you have to hire more cops, you have to give us more money? Is that part of what these studies are for? It's not just to say, oh yeah, look, we see what we already know. Is it that you have to have data to then be able to go and say you have to hire more police officers, it's never going to change?
Well, the studies are, so you had a headache, right? Or you had a rib out of place, and you ever Google? Don't Google,
but
you should.
There's only one answer: you're going to die. You're like, I have a small rash. You will be dead in 30 days. That's the only answer.
I knew what I did one day. I was pulling chairs out of the garage for a Christmas gathering we're doing with family, and I'm getting to the place to where I just can't bounce back like I used to, right? And I did something with a rib.
Yeah.
Well, the pain stopped. That could either be that whatever was going on healed itself, or I got worse issues, right? Mm-hmm. But if we don't know, we're guessing. And so I could either take a gamble on my life or actually go to the doctor and get an analysis of what's going on. The gun violence landscape analysis tells us what that 6% drop came from. Well, we had the same thing happen in 2019 to 2020. And from 2020 to 2021, we had like a 6.9% drop in violent crime. We don't know what that was. No one can tell you what that was. And so it behooves us to know what that was so we can know what's working and what we need to continue to do to get higher percentages of drops, but also what's not working.
See, you need that to go to the city council and to go to your city manager. That's your boss.
It is.
And to say, hey, here's something that we need. But you've got, DeMarcus, your own gut instinct on what's going on here. I mean, if we went into COVID, we know that we dropped violent crime because nobody was going anywhere doing anything, It's just, It's right.
Don't tell the government that. They'll try to institute that.
Put it back in.
Show me your papers.
But I mean, do you have a feeling for why it went down last year, or is that just a throw of the dice? And because we only went down about 6%, right?
6%.
Is a 6% drop last year? Is it an ongoing trend because something's working and there's a reason for it, or is it just kind of the way the wind blew last year?
Unfortunately, anecdotally, we can look at things and say this, and in any agency, non-for-profit, can get on and start blowing their trumpet, right? We did this. We don't know. And so I anecdotally, I could say that I think some of the organizations have started to get involved more on a communal level and started to try to, when we're just talking about it, we're talking about it with kids saying, hey, we see that y'all got guns at 15 and 16, and we're concerned about it. We're not painting you to be a monster, but we're concerned that you got a gun in your hands at 15 to 16. And a gun that's an AK-47 or an AR-15 at 15 or 16 is concerning, and we're looking at these things. Why is this happening? We're looking at what's going on with CPS, right? The conversation alone, I think, brings some validity to some of the numbers going down, but 6.9 is a huge drop when you look at national. National, we drop, if we're going to have a decrease in crime, and there's been a trend, it's going to be 3%. If we're doubling, now we need to know what that is, and that's what kills me about 2021 or 22.
The smaller the aquarium, the more likely we could have big spikes up and down, correct? I mean, it could go 10%. Nationally, we're not going to see that kind of a thing.
Right.
Because of our smaller population here. But when you're trying to get people to behave with matches in the forest, the one thing you need annually is a good forest fire, because it helps people remember the damn thing can burn down.
That's right.
So it reminds, hey, don't play with matches out here. Put your fires out. Take care of them. If we see,
They don't just listen to Smokey Bear?
No, they don't.
Smokey Bear told me only you can
I'll tell you
prevent
what,
forest
if
fires.
he walked up, not only is he about 8'3",
Yeah.
but he wears jeans.
Yeah, man.
So, and he doesn't wear a shirt, but he wears jeans.
Yeah.
That's kind of a, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's kind of got that Putin look going to be out there. No, so where was I? So when you see violent crime being reported as going down in 23 and 24 and 25, and you're like, do you get a little frustrated because you're like, I know that, but we need more help, guys, because it's going to be going back up, and we've got boiling issues that are going on underneath the surface. Do you worry that people are thinking that it's getting okay?
I don't want people to get complacent.
Yeah.
And so this has been, when people are yelling on either side of the issue, you know, crime, too much crime. Oh, crime's not that bad, whatever. And I'm like, y'all, 54 individuals killed that I know of personally to gun violence in Columbia, Missouri.
In what span of time?
From 2002 to 2019.
Okay.
And that was 54 individuals. 2002 was weird because you had two childhood friends. The killer was a friend of I have pictures of a birthday party. They were both there, right? And so that started to get in some weird territory, and to see it ramp up. I mean, from 2016 to 2018, you had 22 individuals killed, and that's been. I mean, we had organizations that were founded in that time because of what was going on in Boat. Like you said, I'm glad you said what you said. They were shooting every other day at Boat, for real. Like, it was going down. I couldn't believe the amount of violence that was going. And these people that are around now wasn't saying a damn word. You couldn't get them to give a tweet about it. It was Twitter then too. Yeah. But you couldn't get them to say anything about it.
You mean other people in town? I'll just say like me. And that's not fair because I was talking about it because I'm reporting and talking about the news every day. But people more like me didn't care because it wasn't happening in their world.
There you go.
Okay.
Yep.
Their neighborhood was safe, so they didn't think about it.
My wife would go to work and talk about someone being shot and killed, and her coworkers like, people get shot in Columbia. Wasn't their ecosystem.
Yeah.
They weren't related to these people. I'll give you a story that when that young man got robbed or got shot, excuse me, I shouldn't have said that, but got out at the links, that shooting, and then the girl that got killed and the two individuals fighting for their lives. My sister got a text that very same time. We were in South Carolina together. We weren't even here. Yeah. Hey, my brother got shot.
Oh my gosh.
Pray. We're hoping he pulls through. We think his girl. I mean, she's getting real time. She knows the end of. She works with, lives life with the individual's brother. So this is why I say taking my kids away. This ain't because I got a position at the city that we're involved with violent crime. It's because it directly affects us on a regular basis. Yep. And so we must impact something unless we want our kids enacting the same thing.
The problem I think a lot of people have, and I certainly see it from all perspectives, is the young lady, a nursing student at Stevens College, who was shot and killed.
She went to my mother-in-law's church. She was in a class with my mother-in-law for teaching sign language.
Seemed like an extraordinary young lady, right? And shot and killed by an errant flying bullet that hit her in downtown Columbia, and she's gone now. And we all go, wow, if it can happen to anybody who's not involved, because if a criminal, a hardened, violent criminal, kills a really bad, lifelong, violent criminal, we're like, well, that's not so bad. There, it kind of.
Is it wrong that I wondered? So when I heard the violence prevention drop, I was like, well, if they're killing each other, is it dropping because there's less violent
that's
criminals?
Part of the problem.
That's the first thing that popped into my head.
It doesn't, though, because lawlessness begets
more
lawlessness.
Yep,
that's what
right.
it gives us.
That's
And,
right.
if you commit violent crimes, you're going to create more violent criminals because people retaliate or they learn from you that that's the way of life. Isn't that correct?
That's correct. You live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Yeah.
I have people that I've worked with that I'm related to who I've seen use the sword, right? And we know it's just a matter of time. Like you get their burial plot. People need to start buying insurance. That's a whole nother. Seriously, we have seminars in the churches like, hey, y'all, get y'all life insurance. You know you out here doing this. Don't have your mom and your grandma or your uncles, your dad having to deal with this. You know you out here doing this. Get life insurance, right? Like, come on now. But like it's a matter of time.
I don't even. We're talking about a new policy now with my buddy Dale Parker, and I know they're going to do like the blood work and stuff like that, right? We'll have a little visiting nurse come in and he or she will take care of us.
This needs to be a checkbox on a
They
form.
don't ever say, hey, that you're doing good. We draw a little vial of blood, and are you packing some heat today?
Bro, it should be when you get beat
that
into the
gang
game.
affiliation?
And they need to get their game up. Like, look, when you get beat in, do you got life insurance? You know what we in. You know you need to have like for real. Like get your priorities.
Oh man!
Now go back to your question again. Now, really bad person kills a really bad person.
Yeah.
And that bad person who got killed had a nice life insurance policy, and mom and grandma are taken care of.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And are giving back to the community because a lot of times that happens.
Are you selling policies?
I know. The
but I do know a guy.
Prevention is just a cover for his life insurance business.
That's not bad.
That wouldn't be. You see it on like American Greed or something like that. Yeah, you ever watch those stories? You're like, man.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
this is something we shouldn't really laugh about, but it's valid.
This is so learning and eye-opening, and are you surprised by the difficulty of your job?
I'm not. No, not at all.
I mean, somebody went to your defense in a social media post earlier this week and said, hey, man, how can DeMarcus Thomas-Brown possibly keep this from happening? And somebody else said, that's the name of his office.
Yeah.
That might be part of the problem, is that the office was named, you didn't name it, but that the office is named incorrectly, because if you're the office of the prevention of rain, it rained this morning. I think you failed.
You failed, yeah.
Right? So is that part of the problem? Tell me what's going on.
It's not. People need to educate themselves. Right, like so you don't. If a doctor is tasked with preventing cancer and somebody gets cancer, is that doctor failed, or is a widespread understanding that you need to go make sure you get your colonoscopy and all these things in the wide prevention? Now you find me someone who can prevent violence. If we actually think that there's going to be an office that's empowered to prevent wholesale, I'm not messing with y'all, because I'm going somewhere else and making bukus of millions of billions of dollars and only selling the secret. But what prevention means, if you look up the very definition of it, is not the eradication. That's a whole nother word. It's not the office of eradication. It's the office of prevention. Prevention does not mean zero. Prevention means less than, and the downward trend of a situation.
But you didn't agree with my question earlier, which was you have ideas right now that we need at both the immediate, the short term, and the long term to prevent violent crime.
Yep,
correct?
That's correct.
What do you need from us? And by the way, I got a text this morning from a good friend that said, go get him, Tiger. Now, that's all it said. We hadn't talked at all, and it was not go get him. It was EM, go get him, Tiger. Meaning, all right, you're going back into the arena. We're going to have ourselves a discussion this morning.
Yep.
We are, but I'm not here to attack you. I am here to attack ideas, and I'll get after one of your ideas I'd like to rip apart in a moment, okay? But in the meantime, these are things that you've said that we can go together. What do you need us to do? What would you like us to do? These guys that are just out here living our lives and wondering why there's so much violent crime. What do you want from us?
Educate yourself to know what's going on. it's always easy to point and say the issue is that the water's coming from the sky. That's easy. Don't do the easy stuff. Do the hard stuff of getting down and really figuring out root causes. What the same thing where people are he didn't prevent. Read a dictionary. I'm not you, Tom. I'm just saying, like I get a little frustrated because it's like I'm gonna have a doctorate next year. This stuff didn't just because of my life experience. It drove me to actually figure out what is going on because this ain't right and this is not working. And so you got these people who sit in armchairs, right, and then yell at the quarterbacks, go out there and take a hit, and then you tell me what you're going to do if you're going to scramble. It's the same thing. Educate, figure out what's going on. What is happening? The Office of Violence Prevention is not a new concept. Look at ecosystems of prevention and intervention. Look at the evidence-based practices of the HAVI, the Health Alliance of Violence Intervention. Look at all these, letters beyond that we could think of behind the names of individuals who have developed evidence-based practices in the realm of even social, of substance use disorder and all that, right? That helps communities wholesale. Look at that stuff.
So you want education. You want us to be open-minded to learning.
Not even open-minded, like to actually know facts, to actually know what's going on, what it is that Office of Violence Prevention do, what it is going on in communities. Figure out what's going on in the corridor.
But you say we need money, so you want money from us also. Now, the problem with the city council is that when they brought this up, they brought it up with an attitude, and it's probably pissed me off more in the last 12 months. Anything they've done, this is the one thing. They acted like this. Well, if you want to get fixed, we're going to have to put in more cops, and that's going to need more money. We have to have a tax. That was their attitude. And here would be mine. I agree with you, Columbia. We have crime that is out of control. We are not in a control level with it, and we need to take control of that. We need more cops in the force. I agree with everyone in Columbia who's ever said that. And I'm with you, and we need to do it. Now, let's get an annual increase in our available funds of $10 million, and let's do it. Hear the positivity there? And hear me speaking to the people saying, I get your feeling on this. Let's make a change. And the city council, including the mayor, did not step forward with that. And that's on them. They lack the ability. But do I have to start calling you doctor now?
Dr. DeMarcus?
Don't do that. No, don't do it.
Dr. DeMarcus sounds
Dr.
pretty
DeMarcus
good.
sounds pretty dope.
Sounds like somebody that
I
can
like
really
that.
get some ball and more funding, more police officers here in our force. Is that correct?
I think that's one. We get looks like what do you have in your arsenal? Arise Dwellings is doing over on Range Line down there by Columbia College. Well, their whole deal needed funding, but what they needed was awareness. People didn't know that they were doing something down there and that something was happening, and we see the wholesale change in that. Or the open doors of people. Who do you know that this person may need to be introduced to that creates a community for them, right? That expands concentric circles.
That's
there's
Arise
a whole
Dwellings is Scott Claybrook, right?
That is Scott Claybrook.
He's another pastor. He's a good friend of mine. He's awesome dude.
I would love to have you, anytime it comes up to you, if you want to reach out to me and say, hey, did you notice this? Hey, here's something that's going on, and just feed my mind a little bit. And if you want to keep behind the scenes and off the record, you can always do that with me. But if you say, here's something, Tom, next thing something comes up, you want to feed it out there. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm feeling. And then reach out to me next time you want to get on also, because something's going on or something stopped going on, which would be a great reason too, right?
Yeah.
He's got a thankless job. Either if he does his job great and he really does impact crime statistics, nobody's going to be like, oh, good job. They're just going to be like, oh, it's life is the way it's supposed to be.
Okay, so we got to run.
Yeah.
Let's take it from there. And I'm going to hit you with the thing I don't like.
All right.
And then I'll hit you with this other thing too. The thing I don't like is the idea of safety liaisons on our city buses. I don't think it's going to do anything for us. I think it's a wrong direction. The amount of money isn't much. Are you talking about spending $75,000 a year? $99,000 a year. Thanks for not taking it to
specialists or the HEAT, habilitation, empowerment, accountability, therapy. Both those trainings tempered together. That's what Powerhouse offers. You see major on the de-escalation tactic, especially with someone who has lived experience. I'm not afraid of those people. They don't think, oh, they got the cooties because they're drunk. They realize, okay, this person's in a situation, and I'm going to work in to, if there needs to be a de-escalation or to get this person to the right space they need to be, because right now they're a danger to themselves and they're a danger to other people. And so how do we help get them, that's what a community navigation liaisons, to get them to the place of care, whether that's a reentry opportunity center where they can go and sober up, drink all the coffee they need to, sit on the couch, and then get back out to what you need to do, or that's turning point, or they need to end up at divert. Where do you need to go? How do we help you get there that you're not here?
I think one of the problems I have is I've always just appreciated what a bouncer at a bar does. It's get out. And so, because the bouncer's job is twofold. Number one is to protect everybody else there, and number two is to protect the business. I think sometimes they get that backwards, but number one should be the other patrons that were there. Get out. Where should I go? I don't care, but get out of here. And I wouldn't mind having bouncers. It's a bus bouncer. And they just say, get off. Now, that might not sound like a very humane way to handle this, but it is humane to everybody else on there, the driver and all the other pedestrians, bicycle riders, and cars on that road. If something happens on that big-ass bus going down the road and it's going to hit somebody else, one of my family members, or a poor little squirrel going across the street, because the bus driver has now in jeopardy, and so is the bus. So I'd rather go to the bouncer thing. Maybe we'll hit more on this later on. The other thing that you asked about that I was going to get to moments ago was about I'm losing my train of thought because
what I asked just a second ago, the idea of him having a thankless job, is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about if it goes well or not goes well?
Yes, that was it, because I thought about this in the beginning. How the hell do we measure if you, the idea, the budget, the office, other people on there, how do we measure if you're doing a good job? And then we'll finish it up here, DeMarcus.
So as I mentioned about no cap and all the various other things, accountability, right? I have KPIs. Right, key performance indicators that are developed through data. We talk about our stressor maps. The project management office has collaborated a lot of data that helps us narrow down to a couple KPIs. Because if you have 15 KPIs, you're just trying to hide that you're not doing your job. If you got 3, you go like no, I got 3 things to do. Same thing with the community navigation liaisons. We are gathering data to make sure this is impactful. Because if it's not impactful, we're not going to keep doing it, right? We're going to look at something else. But if it is impactful, we're going to expand it. And so I have KPIs. I have key performance indicators. One of them, community impact to violence, works when you have strong community input. And one of my KPIs is getting community input and community rallied around the fact that we got to see numbers go down. I think if you go to Facebook, I'm not on Facebook, but the people who've told me about stuff going on Facebook, I think we're achieving that. I think the community saying on various, you got people who would never have talked to each other, talking to each other. I wish they do it outside of Facebook, but still, that's a start, right? Yeah. Well, community impact, it's the strongest when you have community stakeholders at the table. That's the KPI. We see that wholesale. We'll see that I'm doing my job. The other thing is, as you said, it's a thankless job. For me, the wins go to the community. So collaboration, hopefully my office is like, wait, what is he doing? Why are all these agencies doing? Just know I'm there, right? Because I don't want a big name for DeMarcus or for the Office of Violence Prevention. We want to see numbers go down to Columbia, people living safer and able to take a breath the next day and make a different decision.
I want anyone who's got this, don't forget how DeMarcus got here. And I don't mean into the position he's in or the knowledge he has.
And not the 15-passenger van?
No, that's what I'm bringing up. Yeah. He spent 16 hours with 11 people in a van coming back from the Carolinas.
Talk about violence prevention.
God.
That's my whole job as a dad, man. I'm just trying to violence prevent in the house.
You got into town and you got 4 hours of sleep, and then you came in here with us?
Yes, sir.
Thanks for hanging out with us, man. Yeah.
I can't. I got to go. Yeah. I got to go to work.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you for being here this morning.
Hey, thank you, Tom.
Great
Thanks for the invite.
Just absolutely amazing. It's I think more than anything the feeling, the attitude, the sound, the tenor that I'm looking for from other people who are in leadership positions with the city of Columbia. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. I'm looking for that. Yeah. I shouldn't have to beg for that thing.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't have, if you're a politician, you run for office, you win the office, I shouldn't have to tell you, will you stop speaking political crap?
Yeah.
Will you talk to me like
Yeah.
a real person, like a real citizen of Columbia?
Yep.
Right?
And I appreciate that he just said we have a problem, because honestly, I don't think we've heard that from any of the political people. They're all very political. And I don't understand that either. It's like, okay, if you say we have a problem, we're not immediately going to say you suck at your job. It just means, no, we have a problem in humanity. So I don't know if they're afraid, like if they say, yes, we have a problem, that then there's backlash on them. I don't understand the logic. I really appreciate that he was blunt and direct.
Yeah.
And I mean, I got to be honest, I like other pastors. So
So wait a second. You like me if I start preaching more? I preach a lot.
yeah, I'd love to get
I
you
just
there.
preach a different gospel,
It's true.
if you will. Let's move on to this special segment.
Are you ready? You gotta keep your eyes on the crap.
You can't handle the crap.
Looky here, there's a big difference between shit and shinola.
As my great-grandfather always said, Matumba, keep your eye on the crab.
Hi, Matumba. You know where we are. Keeping our eye on the crap. Brought to you by Family Focus Eye Care. People think that I'm self-indulgent. I want to make sure that you understand this. I am self-indulgent.
That was a hell of a ramp up for I am.
I am. Did you know that I'm writing a book? Did I mention?
You have told me, yeah.
Did I mention it though on here?
I don't know if you have or not. You mentioned it to me, and
So
I'm excited.
I just let it slip out here.
That's it, yeah.
In the book, I have to mention the fact that I'm self-indulgent. I did full disclosure on such a thing. So that's why, in keeping your eye on the crap this week, it's gonna seem like that, but really, it's more about you. And I'll get that in a second. Family Focus Eye Care at famfocuseye.com. Do you remember what I said at this part of the podcast on our last podcast before the holidays on Thursday, December 18th? Do you remember what I said?
You were talking about your eye issues. I remember that you were going to do something.
I was going to go get an eye exam.
Yep.
But there were things that I didn't know it. There was this weird thing that one of my eyes was doing, and I was like, that's cool. I didn't think it was any big deal at all. So I went into Dr. Rich, Family Focus Eye Care, and this, as a matter of fact, is about keeping your eye on the crap. Annual exam, no biggie. Until they took pictures of me and my eyes, including the interior and the back of my eyes.
Is that like the puff thing, or do they not do that anymore? The air puff?
They still check. That's for glaucoma.
Oh, that's
they
glaucoma.
They still
okay.
do that, but the other pictures mostly, I don't know. You're gonna see a bright light, you hear that, and you're like, okay, and then they're.
That's the one where they get the picture of the back of your eye, that bright light one? Okay.
I think so. And they can use a bright light to look into it also, so Dr. Rich was doing it. But he called up, he's got this big screen, TV screen, up on the wall. It's like a 60-inch sitting right there.
Nice. So you could actually see it.
So, yeah, if you got problems. And he calls up the inside and the back of your eye, and he goes, okay, here it is. I'm like, oh, good God.
It's freaky looking.
And this is what he said. This is very, very true. First of all, he said, first your right eye. He started off just like that. He said, you've got some signs right here, and he showed me exactly where it is of early signs of macular degeneration.
Oh.
And there's good news on that. He said, start eating some kale.
Really?
Yeah, you not only prevent it continuing, you can actually reverse it. So
that's not like write a prescription. It's eat the nasty lettuce.
Yes.
Eat kale, and you can reverse macular degeneration.
You can get supplements.
Yeah.
Pop those if you want. And you can eat spinach.
That's great news.
The kale is apparently loaded with the stuff that you need. He goes, now for the left eye.
Uh-oh.
I said, okay. The beginning of my retina separating from my eye. Now raise your hand if you know what a retina actually is.
It's the circle on the front of your eye? Is that right?
No.
Oh, it's not. Then I got it wrong. What is it?
I wouldn't have had any idea.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, my retina getting detached. I only know that boxers can have their retina detached.
Because they get punched in the face, yeah.
Yeah.
So which part of your eye
I said,
is
this
it?
because of trauma that happened? He goes, no, if it's happening, he goes, I'm going to confer with two of my other doctors. I'll be back in a second. And he went and he talked and he came back. He goes, we're all in agreement. And I said, so now, he goes, you have to go see a retina specialist. So I went to Retina Associates of Missouri, and it was interesting the way the whole thing. And I said, how does this happen? It's simply by aging.
Okay.
So when I went into Retina Associates, I was the youngest person in the waiting room.
Well, that's not a fun feeling.
So Harry is 89. He's like, what are you doing here, you young son of a bitch?
What are you in for?
And apparently because of moisture and it begins happening. So I went into the retina specialist the very next morning. If the retina completely separates and removes from the eye, you'll probably lose your vision.
Oh my
It's on the
gosh.
back of your eye.
On the back of you. Wait, so like if you're looking at the ball of your eye, this is the front where the pupil is,
Yeah.
right? So the retina is all the way back here?
Yeah, on the brain side.
On the brain
On the
side?
brain side of your eye. And so they checked it out. By the time I got to the third examination room at the retina specialist, they said, okay, here it is, and this is what's going on, and we're going to need to go in right now.
Oh my gosh.
And they fire up the laser, which sounds like this. No, it doesn't. They go ahead, they turn the laser on, and they go into your eye, and they start zapping it, which looks and feels pretty much like a bad acid trip from the 1970s.
Oh my gosh.
And
now
so-
this is non-surgical. This is all like you're in the room and then the light is going in the front of your eye. And then they're shooting a laser into your eye, which we were always told not to do. Don't shoot the laser into your eye.
Don't shoot lasers in your eye.
But they were shooting lasers into the front of your eye.
They brought out the lasers, started zapping my eye, and I'll go back in for a checkup on it and make sure that everything's going on that should be. In about 2 more weeks, Dr. Rich reached out to me with a text and said, how's your eye doing? And they already heard back from the retina specialist also, but he wanted to check. And I said, I've got this and this, and I think that's probably just where we should be. He goes, I think so. Let me know what happens with your eye exam when you go back in. Which, and by the way, it's weird because when they hit you with that thing, there's no pain in the eye. They've numbed your eye twice. One with numbing drops, then they're going with a needle.
I'm out.
And they numb your eyes some
I don't want to be
more.
here. Oh,
And
it's
when
so
they
uncomfortable.
when they hit you with the laser, there is no pain on the surface of your eye at all.
Would there be if they
It's
didn't
all
numb
back
it, you think?
here in your brain.
Oh my gosh.
You feel it in there and you're like, wow. Yeah, it's
This is
it's
one of my
something.
worst. Any eye stuff terrifies me.
well, you and I talked earlier this morning. You
Yeah.
said aging is
Yeah.
not for wimps.
No.
Getting old ain't for wimps, man. And everybody else was in there. You should have seen how calm they were. I'm 79, had it done 3 times. You'll be fine. I swear.
Whoa.
They're just kicked back.
That's amazing.
And me, I'm like a 17-year-old kid still, and I have to accept the fact that I'm not
Yeah.
that anymore. So thank you. Keep your eye on the crap. Keep your eye on what could be happening. Go get annual exams in your eye. And if you don't wear contacts or eyeglasses or have vision problems at all, and you're like, I don't need eye exams.
Still get checked.
Dude,
Yeah.
this thing had nothing to do, nothing. My vision is the same.
Yeah.
My contact lenses I'm wearing right now are the same strength, same prescription Dr. Rich gave me from the last several. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed at all. I wasn't in there because I had a problem. I was in there because it was time for an annual exam. FamFocusEye.com. And that's what I'm going to finish with in telling you to always keep your eye on the crap. And my friends, your screen goes dark. That's not your eyes. That's we're shifting to the out. This is the outro video at this time. I don't know how long we went today, but God, we needed today's show.
That was great.
We really needed it. Thank you. You're doing a great job, Ellis.
Thank you.
Better than you have any idea.
Well, thank you.
I should start paying you. My friends, live this day as if it were your last. I say to you, hookah hey.